Joining us, our late news regular, Scott Phillips from Motley. And Scott, let's begin with the Wall Street influence. The US markets higher over the weekend. Can we expect the same here tomorrow?
Peter, good evening. The good news is we can, at least a little bit. The future's currently up only 0.1%, but that's still a positive number, and hopefully that carries across to tomorrow morning's market.
Let's hope so. Some very encouraging news for investors from a number of analysts over the last few days, predicting our blue chip shares to deliver one of the best years in decades.
It's extraordinary, Peter. We're up 24% year to date. That's financial year to date since July 1 of last year. Now, that doesn't even include dividends. So you can probably add 3 or 4 percentage points to that. Put some franking on top, and it's been a remarkable financial year so far. Of course, it's not over yet. Anything can happen. But it looks like it's shaping up as the best year since 2009. Not coincidentally, another recovery year, of course. And forecasts, as you say, have been upgraded up to almost 8,000 points in some cases. That's a good 5 or 10% higher than where we are now.
On the data front, the Reserve Bank is in the spotlight again. Credit card figures tomorrow and a speech on Wednesday by the Assistant Governor of the RBA.
It's going to be a busy one. The credit card numbers will be interesting because we really haven't yet settled back on how much consumers are putting on the plastic fantastic. Of course, it wasn't long ago that the credit card numbers were going through the roof, but last year we paid a lot down. So the change to saving and how much we're putting on the plastic really will be an important number to look at. And as you say, Assistant Governor Kent speaking on Wednesday about debt markets, not the world's most exciting topic generally speaking, but of course long-term bond yields and even medium-term bond yields are part of what the RBA is trying to do to keep rates down. So that speech will be closely watched.
Wednesday, weekly payroll figures?
Yeah, and these again are really, really important. Of course, we know Victoria is still in the midst of a lockdown, and those payroll numbers will really tell us how many Australians are employed, for how many hours, and how much we're being paid. We will expect a reduction, of course, because of the Victorian lockdown, but how bad that is and the flow-on effects will be front and centre. OK, and I'm intrigued by this one. The middle of the week also important on the international calendar with inflation figures for both the United States and China. These will be fascinating too, Peter, because of course we know right around the world central banks have been trying desperately for the past quite a lot of years, of course, but most specifically since the COVID recession, to somehow light a fire under inflation. There is some sense that it's coming back in the US. China's been a bit hot and cold, but as we know, those are the world's two biggest economies. Where they go the rest of the world. Hopefully for their sake, they get a little bit of inflation, not too much. We don't know bills to go up that much, but a little bit of inflation will tell us the world economy is getting back on its feet. And that will be a really, really important day's worth of data.
Scott Phillips, Chief Investment Officer from Motley. As always, thanks for joining me on the Late News.
Thanks, Peter.